Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome on into episode 13 of the Stock Guy and Alex Show, the podcast that covers topics around the entire world, business, news, markets, money, and sports. People are talking about it, so are we. The Stock Guy and Alex Show can be watched, listened, and viewed on YouTube and Spotify. Soon, we'll have this thing uploaded and ready to be downloaded and listened to wherever all other podcasts are listened to. Follow the show on Twitter, Insta, LinkedIn, TikTok, and all the major socials for clips, moments, and info about the show. What is up, dude?
We keep saying that it's going to be on the other podcast platforms, but like, what is this, episode 13?
It's episode 13.
When are we going to get there?
Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to do it.
I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm not a fan of Apple the same as anybody, but we gotta swallow our pride at this point.
At this point, YouTube and Spotify, we got some good coverage. There's some other ones out there. There's some Google podcasts and stuff where it's available.
Hey, maybe if Joe Rogan gets booted, we can get our $100 million contract. How you doing, Alex? How was your weekend? I hear that you were supposed to fly somewhere and couldn't. That's unfortunate.
The Midwest got dumped on with snow. At this point, airlines are taking any excuse they can get to cancel flights. Pretty much any excuse that they can get. Because these pilots, man, they're all getting COVID and stuff. They're short-staffed right now. They're dealing with the short staffing issue, just like the Jersey Mike's down the street, which has to close at like 2 o'clock or something because they don't have enough people.
Jersey Mike's?
Dude, I eat Jersey Mike's like 4 times a week.
Okay, that's sad. There's only one sub place that I will look forward to eating at, but I never get to eat there because it's just the delivery fee's too expensive, and that's Firehouse Subs. The Jesus fucking Christ. The New York Steamer sub that they have there is unbelievable. Have you ever had it?
No, I don't really eat Firehouse.
Dude, Firehouse Subs, and by the way, I'm all for sponsorship. Their New York Steamer, which is like corned beef and roast beef and like Thousand Island dressing steamed. It's unbelievable.
That's like a fresh take on a Reuben.
I don't know what it is, but it's one of my favorite subs. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm having to like be careful because I don't know if you and your new wife ever plan on having children, but you know something? I'm gonna tell you this, and this is I know that we didn't talk about this, but I'm gonna say it anyways before we get going. Having kids, raising kids is like skydiving. Okay, it's a lot like skydiving. Have you sky
dove?
Of course I skydove.
You skydove? Okay, cool. I mean, I know you're a parent. I just want to make sure you had credentials on skydiving as well. Go for it.
This is not about skydiving. I was using it as an analogy, and the reason I say that is someone who's been skydiving can tell you moment for moment everything. They can tell you about what the experience is like, about how you get there and how you get hooked up and how you go in the plane and if you're doing it tandem or solo and what it's like and how the feeling is when you get out and the feeling of it. They can explain it to you and you can know everything. But it doesn't matter when you get on that plane, when you get pushed out, it doesn't matter. You don't know what it is until you experience it. And I'm going to tell you this, if you ever do plan on having kids, people tell you all the time, they grow up so fast. Holy shit, do they grow up fast. Not only is she turning 14 months next week, she's walking. She's walking.
Oh, she's walking already, man.
She's walking.
That's so cool. Congrats,
she's running around the house
so
grabbing
cool.
everything. And my wife was like, "Hey, we need to baby-proof the house." And I was like, "No, I'm not baby-proofing the house until I use the kid first." She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Let's let the kid run around the house and see everything that she grabs that she's not supposed to, and then we'll know what we need to fix." And
there's some obvious. I feel like there's some obvious stuff though, like an outlet, like put the safety covers.
Oh, we have
on
the outlet covers, but like
okay.
I was like, she's like, we should get rid of the glass table. I was like, let's see if she falls through it or not, and she hasn't. So I was like, all right, let's keep it. If she breaks into it, but then we'll get rid of it. Like I feel like there's a learning curve there. Like you don't want to overdo it. But here's the worst part: the missus came to me this week and said we should start trying again.
Why is that the worst part?
Have you seen what my hairline has done in the last year?
I think you got a tremendous hairline. I don't think you should listen to what those bullies in chat say to you.
It's not bullies. I was looking at a picture of me. CNBC reached out to me recently again, last time, the second time, about coming on possibly, and they asked me for a headshot. And the only headshot I had was from a year and a half ago. And it's a catfish photo at this point. The hairline is not the same. It's gone. It's gone. I look completely different. GameStop and a baby destroyed my life.
I don't don't know. You got the swoopy thing going on, a little salt and pepper on the side thing going on. Yeah, I do not let them get to you like that, man. Don't let yourself feel cyberbullied by those guys in that chat.
It's my mirror, sir.
You're doing fine. You're doing absolutely fine. You know what's maybe not doing that fine, or maybe is doing great? The Winter Olympics.
Well, before we get into that, I need to go over something. We're talking about CNBC for a second, okay? I probably shouldn't bring this up because this is probably going to make me lose whatever opportunity I have.
Do you want to work with them?
Okay, here's the thing. I grew up watching TV as you did, right? Like, we're kind of boomers. You want to know a really depressing fact? The oldest millennials turned 41 this year.
What was it? 81? No, 80.
Yeah.
81?
81.
I will say, have you ever done any research on that period of time between 1980 and 1985, which they call like Xennials, which is like Gen X and Millennial?
Stop with your vegan ass shit. I don't want to hear it.
Have you heard of this, though?
No,
it's 100% accurate.
You're like that one chick I dated who was into...
You're kind of like a Xennial. A little bit.
You're like that one chick I dated who was into astrology. She's like, what's your sign? I'm like, what do you mean, what's my fucking sign? She's like, what's your sign? I'm like, what sign? She's like, when were you born? I was like, April 21st. She's like, oh my God, you're a Taurus. You're such a Taurus. Like, you're stubborn, you're hard-headed, but you're a cusp Taurus. I'm like, what the fuck is a cusp Taurus? She's like, you're born within the 2-day range between Aries and... I was like, shut up and just get naked at this point. Like, I don't care, okay? I don't care about this, all right? If you want to tell me about your crystals while you're gobbling my... Okay, never mind, sorry. All right, so... back to what I was saying. So CNBC had reached out to me, right? And I went on them during the GameStop fiasco thing and everything. And I was on there for the stock draft, which RIP. But they were originally going to bring me on for a new streaming service. And I was like, that's super cool. I can't wait to do it. I was pumped. I was like, this is a great opportunity for me to get more outside of just the streaming and more into the finance world. And then it fell flat. Like they kind of ghosted me, and I reached out and they're like, don't worry about it. We'll let you know. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll move on. Then I get reached out to CNBC again yesterday. And they're like, hey, we're looking for some new panels on one of our major shows. And we know that you have your own audience and we'd like to know a little bit about this. So I was like, okay, I was getting ready to do it. And I said, I noticed he said my audience. So I was like, well, what do you mean my audience? I'm like, what do you care about my audience? You're CNBC. So I went and I looked at the Nielsen ratings for that show, and they average 223,000 viewers a month.
Oh,
my stream averages between 600,000 and 1 million.
A month?
A month. I can't believe. Like, it rocks my brain to think that, and it's not even like me thinking, oh wow, look how awesome I am. I didn't even think that the size difference was that big. Now, obviously, they have more pull. They're on a major network. They have all that. It's so much different. But I couldn't believe that I had between 2 to 4 times their viewership on my stream, and I'm a part-time streamer.
So what's crazy is that that's the first time it feels like. You remember like in the 90s when like newspaper was like nosediving, and obviously it was nosediving before that, but I mean I wasn't alive before that, but like when it felt like TV was the champion and newspaper and print media was just completely nosediving, this feels like the new age media is causing TV to nosedive. That's ridiculous. If you're telling me 223,000 over a month, man, I would not have expected that. I would have expected that maybe like
a ghost in your house, dude. Something just fell off your...
I don't know what that was, but
it was next to your little tubs there. It fell on your couch.
Oh, did that just fall right there? So yeah. Anyway, that's wild. That is a seismic shift. That is a seismic shift.
It is, and for me, it was unbelievable because I don't know if that's bad for them or good for me. I can't tell. I know that we touched on this a couple podcasts ago about the media going down. Now, I'm not saying they're trying to drag me for my audience. I'm sure that they're like, hey, listen, we need to bring a new age of audience in, and CNBC is kind of like, your dad's stock, and they want to bring in millennials, and they realize that I somehow touch a nerve. I'd love to work with them. I'm looking forward to it if it does happen. But that just blew my mind. So now that we got that out of the way, speaking of CNBC and NBC, who has the rights, who paid $7 billion for the rights to the Olympics over the next whatever amount of years, they are showing some pictures from our disastrous Beijing Olympics.
Yeah.
Go ahead and show it to them.
Our Chinese Olympics, guys. Got a nice little photo going viral on the internet, whatever the hell that means anymore. Photo of a Winter Olympics ski jump park is going viral. This right here, this beautiful, beautiful image of what appears to be a ski jump inside of some sort of industrial center, park, place. Very unknown. You can see it right down here. Like this right here is the larger landscape of where they're skiing.
It just makes me think that like this is one of those like dystopian future movies, and like you know how like they have like Death Race. This just reminds me of the Death Race movie, but like for skiing. Like that's exactly what this reminds me of. Like as soon as I saw that picture, I was like, oh, we're doing Death Race skiing. This
is where the best skiers in the world are coming to compete for the Winter Olympics. I mean, dystopian is probably the best way to put it. What the hell is this, man?
Okay, so if you have performance enhancing drugs like steroids, you get disqualified. What if you grow a third leg?
Like why?
I mean,
because they're in the middle of this nuclear. Yeah, that was, it was kind of a reach on that one. We'll give it to you. We'll give you some points on it. A little bit of a reach, guys.
I mean, like an amputee, but still.
Here's the story. The Olympics are typically held in picturesque settings, but the Beijing Winter Olympics isn't offering the gorgeous views we're used to. A picture of the Winter Olympics ski jump is going viral today. Why? Because it's an ugly scene. If this is what a Winter Olympics can look like, then it opens up potential locations, writes Dan Wetzel. What American city should now consider a bid? Take a look. The article says this is pretty disappointing. This is on thespun.com. I don't know about disappointing or anything like that.
Based on Instagram, I think we should have the Winter Olympics in only two places and rotate. Switzerland and at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. That's it. Those are the two places. Based on Instagram, those are the two places I want to see it. And I have no dog in this fight, but that's what I want to see. I actually saw a video of Switzerland of them putting cows. They get the cows down from those mountains through like a ski lift. It's amazing.
I'm just looking at, bro, this is actually insane. Like the fact that they're, how did their bid get through? Like, what was the idea here? Like, do you think this was like plan like D and like plan A, B, and C completely fell through? And they said, well, gotta go into the industrial park. Like, they couldn't have put it in the open field that was right behind it. Why is it got to be in the middle of the industrial park? Like smack dab in the middle. Very unknown. I don't know what's going on here.
I mean, because they needed a place to put the logo on, and a nuclear silo is the perfect place, in my opinion.
They have the logo on the silo.
You should look up the nighttime pictures of it. It actually looks less dystopian.
Oh my God, man. This is wild, guys. This is a nice, easy one to start off. If you guys haven't seen this picture yet on social media or whatever, this is very, very, this is just a delicious like piece of like clickbait. This is just great content to be consuming, and then all of a sudden have all these opinions about, the Olympics and where it's being held and all this, why it's being held here. This is quality content for 2022.
I'm just surprised that we haven't seen more memes. Like, I just thought of the perfect stock market meme where it's like that dystopian like background. It's like my portfolio, and then like the slope is like, my one meme stock that's green today with the rest of it all destroyed. Like, that's perfect. But the one thing about this is COVID is insane right now, because remember, even though COVID's falling away and people are getting used to its plateauing or whatever, China has that zero COVID policy. Like, they don't, like, if you get COVID, they weld you shut in your apartment, or they just make you disappear, and they shut down whole cities. And the Olympics is spreading COVID right now, so they're locking down cities because of this right now. So I don't even know why they're even bothering having it. But the difference is that in America, we're going the opposite. You've even got your hardcore left blue state governors. They're saying, hey, listen, fuck it, get rid of the masks now.
Guys, an article on Axios.com. The headline reads, blue states move to drop mask mandates. America's blue states are increasingly chasing normalcy, especially when it comes to face mask rules meant to slow the spread of COVID-19. The big picture, we are not going to manage COVID to zero, tweeted Governor Phil Murphy. The New Jersey Democrat announced today that his state is unwinding school mask mandates that have been in place for the entire pandemic. We have to learn how to live with COVID as we move from a pandemic to an endemic phase of this virus. What we're hearing, Murphy knows he still has, he has to sell this plan to a lot of nervous parents. I'm told he plans to watch the data from schools every day and is banking on his past willingness to react to data. But his top goal is to restore a sense of normalcy. I mean, it's 2022. We're talking about COVID-19 at this point, right? So in a few months, this thing's going to be encroaching on having been here for 3 years. So, I mean,
we're in our third year already.
Yeah, exactly. So state of play, it says California health officials said Monday that the state will lift its indoor mask mandate after February 15th. So that's California health officials. Delaware Governor John Carney announced Monday that the state will lift its mask mandate for indoor settings on February 11th, while masking requirements for K through 12 schools and childcare facilities will end on March 31st. Connecticut.
It's a long article. It's a long article. There's three major takeaways.
There's two more
from this.
states. Listen, there's two more states. Okay. Connecticut announced during a news briefing Monday that all child care centers and schools will lift the mandate on the 28th. And the governor of New York has also said they are prepared to reevaluate mask mandates. That's big seismic changes from a year ago.
So there's three major takeaways from this. The biggest takeaway is that these are all blue states, right? Like everybody's like looking at and say, oh, well, the red states, the Republicans, they're crazy. They're 5G, anti-vaxxer, QAnon, whatever. They think everybody's a goddamn Nazi, right? Well, nobody makes that, but these are blue states. So then now becomes the big thing where it's like, hey, is this now about health or is this about politics? We want to get kids back to school and there's so much, problem with math. We're going to let kids go back to school, right? So that's the first story. The second story is that this is not for most of these states, it's not for everybody, it's just for schools, which is funny because schools are obviously the petri dishes of the world. So that's another thing. But then the biggest takeaway for me, and this is something that I'm going to follow, and this isn't about Canada and the whole thing. We got to touch on that next podcast. That's insane. The trucker thing and the did you hear about their GoFundMe? $10 million in donations for that trucker freedom convoy up there. And the Ottawa mayor, governor, whatever, and the local police got together and contacted GoFundMe and said, we have this evidence or whatever that this is not a peaceful thing. And they froze that $10 million. It's insane. But that's another story. The biggest takeaway from this story is California. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with California, but for those who live in California, you will know that California is not a state. It is 3 states in one border. There is legitimately 3 different states in one state, depending on where you go in California. You've got North California, Southern California, and Eastern California. Totally different demographics, totally different voting population. It's why you've had Republican governors. It's why you have gun laws that are weird. We talked about San Jose. Here's the thing, though. They are going to allow people to go out into restaurants and public places and all that stuff without a mask if they're vaccinated. Now, what does that mean? That means that you have to have proof that you're vaccinated in order to go to these places. Now, forget the fact that this is, some people are going to be like, this is, please. Forget that. Forget the fact that you're going to have the people that are going to be buying these and getting the underground black market for fake vaccine cards. And for that, you know what really matters to me and outside of the political sphere? You and I have both worked in retail and food and beverage. All I can see is some poor, fresh out of high school, trying to pay her way through college, or some single mom, or some guy just trying to make a living as a host at a fucking Outback Steakhouse who has to deal with this now. Like, do you have your vaccine passport? Oh, are you Nazi Germany now? Or, sir, this is clearly fake. You ain't got proof this is fake. I already see what's coming, and that's what I take away from the story. Is there some poor fucking kid out there whose life is about to get a hell of a lot worse?
Because you're saying that because they're lifting the mask mandates, the vaccine restrictions are going to become tighter, and they're going to start basically saying no masks, but now we live in a vaccine only world.
That's what he basically said, is that you can go to these places without masks on if you're vaccinated. So how do you prove that you're vaccinated when you show up to a restaurant without a mask on?
Yeah, and honestly, there's so much going on, and we were talking about this before we even started recording, but all this stuff with Joe Rogan, I feel like there is this, we're smack dab in the middle of a conflict that we're not even close to the resolution of. And that's... Are
you talking about Joe Rogan, the vaccine mandate stuff, or Joe Rogan, the racial stuff?
Not the racial stuff. I'm talking about the vaccine stuff.
Okay, let's make sure that's clear there. I don't mind getting canceled, but there's a limit there.
Listen, we're right in the middle of the Joe Rogan vaccine stuff, where he's interviewed a bunch of people who are allegedly medical experts. I mean, I don't specifically know their background, but according to Joe Rogan and themselves, they say that they are experts for whatever reasons, and I trust it and I believe it. But they have all these people that have these narratives and ideas of standards that they think that they should be in place, but the government doesn't currently believe it. And then for that, you have Twitter banning people and taking people, deplatforming people, and we're kind of right in the middle of this conflict that I don't even think we're close to the end of. And I don't know where it's going to be. We could honestly be in a situation where the vaccine mandates get so strict, and then after maybe 6 months of it, they just pull them back. And where they just like the mask stuff, they get tight on the mask mandates and they pull them back. They might get tight on the vaccine mandates and pull them back. They're already getting tighter, But I mean, it could get way worse for people. I mean, you can get to
me about this whole situation is the idea of freedom of speech and censorship, right? Like, where do we put that line, right? And there was somebody, I can't remember who it was. It could have been, it was somebody famous from the past. They said censorship is when you tell me I can't eat a steak because a babies can't chew. Right. That's kind of the idea of what censorship is, right? And it's a great way of putting it. And my idea is that where do we cross the line from harmful and free speech? And these platforms that become publishers by doing this, it's a whole another thing, because then you start seeing people like you. I don't want to completely at all the time disregard everything somebody says because I think that the government or the medical industry told me something, because then I look back at history. We look at declassified things like MK Ultra, right, where the government admitted to dosing people without their knowledge on psychedelics to see what would happen. We found out that the government got a whole bunch of African American men from Tuckasegee and infected them with syphilis to see what would happen. We've seen the government do this shit in the past. And it's like, if you would have said that the government had done that back then, people would have called you crazy conspiracy theorist and tried to deplatform you and shut you up. And then all of a sudden it comes out. I'm not saying that that's the case here, but it's like, how do we stop, where is that line? Where is the line between, speech and censorship?
I'll tell you, the line probably isn't, inside of an airplane, inside the cabin of an airplane. That probably isn't the moment in time where you're going to say, "Hey, I'm gonna."
Where you want to stand up for your mask mandate rights.
That's not where you want to stand up and make a scene and say, "Hey, this is where I draw the line." Guys, Delta is asking the DOJ to put unruly passengers on a no fly list. I actually got a ridiculous text from one of my buddies last weekend who was flying out of O'Hare, and their flight was delayed because there was a passenger inside of the plane that wouldn't put his mask on. I don't think this made any news outlets. My buddy was on the plane, and he wouldn't put his mask on, and the flight attendants kept saying, "You have to do it. It's just, this is the rule. You have to do it." And he said, No, I'm not doing it. And then they had to bring the cops on, and he wouldn't get off, and they were the cops trying to escort him, and everybody on the plane then was just screaming at this guy to get off the plane, because everyone just wants to take, they just want to take off. They just want to get on with their flight. And the guy turned around and said, "I'm trying to do something for our country here." I'm like, bro.
It's like that rant I went on about people sitting in the middle of the road to try and protest some shit. It's not how you do it. All you do is turn people against you. But my favorite was the guy, of course he was a Florida man, who went on the plane with red panties, red women's lingerie as his mask. And they're like, "You can't have that as a mask." It's like, hey, it covers all of what you said we have to cover. It's like, man, sir, that's not a mask. You have to get off. And then not only did he get kicked off with these red panties on his face, but then he said he's the modern day Rosa Parks. But, here's the thing about the no-fly list. There's several types of no-fly lists. You got ones for terrorism, you got one for threats, you got unruly passengers. And this is, again, with that fine line. Like, I am a big believer in no-fly lists, but the problem is a lot of the people who go on no-fly lists just book a different flight because they don't have communication between each other. Just like we see the FBI, have something on a homegrown terrorist and he goes and blows something up because the CIA, they weren't on the same page. Obviously extremes, but there is a thing there. This is something I get with Delta and whatnot and why they want to do it, but at the same time, I kind of don't like it for the simple fact that what if somebody just doesn't like somebody, or somebody says something to somebody and they want to ban them and they ban them across all? Like, there's not an individual thing. It's again to that blanket problem. And the real reason that this is important is that this past 2 years, they have had a 6,000% increase in passenger problems and police being called and deplaning and no flies and complaints and stuff like that. And it's 3 reasons. It was
the mask stuff.
The second half, the last year, it's been masked. The first half was because nobody was flying, and all of these airlines, especially these budget airlines, were dropping their ticket prices to like $20 to go anywhere. And the type of people that started flying were not people that are generally very caring of others in a confined space. And you end up seeing so much of that. Mix all that together with the alcohol. It was a shit show. They banned the alcohol. And I think they're trying to do this because they're bringing back back alcohol next month to flights. So we're going to see how this plays out. Now you're going to have drunk people standing up against
So guys,
mandate.
This is an article on apnews.com. It says any person convicted of a disruption on board a flight should be added to the national no-fly list. That's what Delta told the U.S. Department of Justice in a letter to the Justice Department Attorney General Merrick Garland dated Thursday. Delta CEO Ed Bastian said there should be zero tolerance for any behavior that affects flight safety. Bastian noted that while such incidents of bad behavior represent a small fraction of overall flights on Delta, the rate of incidents on the airline has increased nearly 100% since 2019. So on and so forth. Obviously, I mean, guys, I think we all understand it. They just basically want, if you're going to be an asshole on a flight, they want it to make, they want to make it a little bit more punitive. They don't want it to just be, oh, hey, you're kicked off this one, go take another flight. Like they don't want you ever to come around. And I mean, I get that. I'm 100%. I like that idea a lot. It makes way too much sense. How on earth are you going to be an asshole that holds up a flight like that because of a mask? Just put a damn mask on. I don't care if you agree with it or not. Just put a damn mask on. You have 180 people that are trying to get to, wherever the hell you're trying to go. But the added note to this is you're going to need to start having cameras, surveillance. People are going to appeal their no-fly situation, and they're going to be like, hey, I wasn't really that much of an asshole. These people just had it out for me, this, that, or the other. I mean, it gets a lot more tricky when you turn the penalty way up. But I like it. I mean, we've all been on that flight that has that asshole that you're kind of like, bro, just this isn't for you. Flying's not for you. Just drive next time. Budget the time and drive next time. Or
just do one of two things. Do like they used to and have a smoking section, they used to have a smoking section on airplanes, which is crazy to me. But have a little barrier in the back where it's like the no mask zone, and you just don't give them any, circulated air or peanuts or water or whatever like that. And that you can have that, or take out the back 4 rows of seats, put up some cages, and let people duke it out. Like a guy's being an asshole, I'm gonna stand and be like, dude, shut the fuck up or get off the plane. No, fuck you, buddy. And I'll be like, no, fuck you, buddy. And then we're like, let's go to the cage and just beat the shit out of each other.
And then they get off the plane, and because they missed the flight that they already spent all their money
on.
No,
I mean, that's basically just a Spirit airline flight in
exactly.
a nutshell.
They just go and they just book it a cheaper flight because they already lost all the money on the Delta flight. So they go to Spirit, or they go to Frontier, or in the future, whatever sort of amalgam of both is about to occur. Guys, according to cheddar.com, Frontier bids I heard what you were trying to do there. Put the words together. Frontier bids $2.9 billion for rival budget airline Spirit. So these two airlines,
I call it Fronted, but then that sounded kind of cool. But I didn't
two airlines looking at each other from across the way. They're thinking, hey man, you look pretty good. Nah, man, you look pretty good. There might be some cultural diffusion between these two. According to this article, Frontier Airlines and Spirit Airlines are proposing to combine in a $2.9 billion deal that would create a larger discount airline to compete against the nation's dominant carriers, and they say promote lower fares.
Bullshit. That's only going to raise it. Because competition
now they're competing against each other.
Competition drives down prices unless you're a public university who just gets all the free money from the government at all. Competition drives down prices. It's why the things become more affordable.
So this past weekend, I was supposed to see Stocky. Stocky, I was supposed to come see you.
Oh, you were? Oh, that's unfortunate.
I was also going to see my brother, my sister-in-law, my nieces and nephews. I was going to see my dad down there. Friday comes along. I'm getting ready to go to the airport. I get a little notice from my Southwest app. Says, hey, flight's been canceled. No more, not delayed. They just said, no more flight. It's gone. Done. So I said, okay, cool. Now I'm kind of screwed. I had these plans to go to Miami for the weekend. So I open up my app, open up Google Flights, and I'm trying to figure out, hey, where is the other flights? The only other flight that I could take was a Spirit Airlines flight that originally was like $40, $30 or $40. And then when all the cancellations came in, the price rose to $650. That's just the base fee, because you know that they charge you for the bags and everything like that. And it was $650 both ways. So yeah, I mean,
don't you own a coffee company?
$650 from $40.
I always hate when rich people complain about this shit.
This is not about anything except for they took the price from 40 up to 650. If you don't think that all of a sudden this gap
price
in the
gouging.
budget, the gap in the competitive market for budget airlines isn't going to result in increased pricing, You're out of your mind.
No, it's not. I don't think that this is going to get approved anyways, because I broke this down on my stream today, and I'm going to put a YouTube video out. These mergers have to go through an antitrust hearing, and NVIDIA just got denied the ARM purchase, which is a massive $40 billion deal. I don't want to break it down too much, but here's the thing. This might get approved, except for the fact that I think this administration is going to go hard on them because their planes, both these companies or both of these airlines get most of their planes from Airbus, which is an international company and not Boeing. So I think that they're not going to get approved for this. But if they do, no, it's bullshit. Listen, the more competition you have, the lower prices go. They're just going to put them together. And they're going to say, okay, we're the budget airline, and they're going to undercut everybody in the beginning to bring in loyalty programs and bring people on their points, and then they're going to rope people into that, and then they're going to raise prices, and the next thing you know, instead of being the ones that are undercutting American and UAL and all those other guys, they're just going to be the same prices with them because they have a bigger fleet. And by the way, this merger, if goes through, would make them the 5th largest carrier in America.
Ooh. Guys, the article says both are ultra low cost carriers that tempt travelers with rock bottom prices for no frills service, but often generate more than their share of consumer complaints. I've never taken a flight on Frontier or Spirit. Have you?
I have taken Spirit a few times. I'm not a fan of it. My favorite has been Southwest because it's usually priced in a good price and decent for good bang for your buck. I don't take the big carriers because they're always too expensive, and I'm not I've always been poor, so I couldn't afford what you do, and But it's always been Southwest has always been my favorite. That's also my favorite stock to own in the airline industry. Although I do own Alaska Airlines right now, but
Alaska's a lot like Southwest.
Huh?
Alaska is a lot like Southwest.
I'm sorry, I've never flown to Alaska, so I'm not
similar,
rich.
They're similar. Alaskan Airlines flies to lower 48, just for shout out Alaskan.
Okay, well, I don't get to fly that often, so I don't know. I don't fly down to Miami every once a month because it's just not something I can do. But what I will say,
you live in Miami.
That,
what are you talking about? It's not
you know what I
mean?
Do. You take trips all the fucking time. I'm like, Alex, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I've got to fly to Chicago. Oh, I've got to fly to LA. I'm gonna be in Miami to go see my brother this weekend. I'm like, oh. Sorry, must be nice. But without being a dickhead, what I did want to say is that you know possible? What? When companies like this do take over, they always undercut and they charge very low prices. But what they do is over time, they will try, just like Netflix did, they slowly increase the prices and slowly increases the prices, especially when they know that they've got you by the balls because they got rid of their competition. Sounds like somebody else this past week.
Guys, if y'all like to use Amazon, if you guys are like, hey, I get free shipping with Prime.
Use that Amazon Prime.
Just, also see if you got a sub. Give it to Stocky. Guys, the price of your Amazon Prime subscription is going up. No shocker there. It's been going up like every year forever, it seems. It says, here's how you can lock in a lower rate. Oh, this article on CNBC is actually trying to tell us how to get a lower rate grandfathered into the new deal. So guys, it says the cost of living has gone up dramatically in recent months. Obviously, we've talked about inflation a little bit here. And now for an estimated 76 million households, their Amazon Prime bill will be slightly higher soon. Select details what the new price will be and how you can save on the online retailer's popular subscription service. I guess that's some sort of breakdown where I'm not going to click the link. But it says an annual Prime subscription will go from $119 to $139 for those who subscribe on a month-to-month basis. The price will be increased from $12.99 to $14.99, and then the Prime student price is also going up from $59 to $69. This is probably commensurate with. This is probably commensurate with what we can all expect. I mean, prices for everything are going up. Amazon takes any opportunity to increase it anyway. Let's be honest. Amazon Prime is like the most convenient thing out there. So I mean, like 20 more bucks for your annual deal. I mean, I get so much on Prime, man. I get so much.
Well, I mean, I have a kid, so I have to. A little life hack is that if you have a community college near you, you can go sign up for one of the little bullshit online classes for like $100 and get a student ID. And if it's a 4-year, they usually give you 2 to 4 year, 2-year IDs, bro. You get the credits for the class, and you save like $200 on in 2 years on Amazon Prime. So it actually pays for itself. Just throwing it out there.
This comes amid rising operating costs for the retail giant, and this isn't the only sub service hiking prices, as services like Netflix and Hulu have done the same in recent months. And if you don't regularly use Prime and currently pay for it, it may be prudent for you to cancel the service and delete that line item off your budget, or you can do what Stocky said, go sign up for a class or whatever. I don't know. All I know is that it's going up, guys. If you buy Amazon Prime, be ready for it to go up from $119 to $139. It's still a great. I mean, for me, man, Prime is still a great value. bro.
It's a good value. It killed. I mean, Amazon did the whole thing of undercutting and killing off the competition. What Walmart does to small towns, and what Microsoft might end up doing with Activision takeover to other gaming platforms. But here's the thing. The reason that they did that was because they had to save their ass and their stock. And I'm going to tell you why. If anybody's been watching the stock market the past week, it has been a fucking bloodbath. We saw PayPal drop 25%, 30% overnight on their earnings. Facebook down 30%. Facebook lost $287 billion overnight. It was the largest single corporate loss in one day in history. It was insane. I don't own Facebook, but I did take about a $4,000 loss trying to buy it after hours and doing it. And then PayPal, I lost $4,000 the day before. That's 10 between that and the loss I already had on the shares. 10 grand in 2 days just because of that. Now, I sold my Facebook off position because I think Facebook is done. I think it's dead. I think the metaverse is a fucking scam, whatever. But this is insane. Google's doing a dividend or a split. They're going to be splitting actually 20 to 1 shares. But Amazon did this because they wanted. Yeah, they want to save their ass on their earnings, and they probably save the stock market doing it. But you know what? Zuckerberg lost something like $26 billion in net worth, but Jeff Bezos made another $30 billion in net worth, even though he's not even the CEO of the company. And he's been putting that money to good use, Alex.
Doing good things, going to space on a penis rocket. Also, he's got this super yacht, which a bunch of friends over in the Netherlands, the Dutch.
Never trust the Dutch.
Is that the same? The Dutch are the Netherlands. It's Holland. It's all the same.
Who cares?
It's all the same.
Do we really care? Do we really care?
Of course, we care about our friends over there in the Netherlands that are Dutch, that are also a part of Holland.
If a Dutch guy ever wants to sell you a tulip, you fucking run.
More than 1,000 Dutch residents plan to throw rotten eggs at Jeff Bezos' super yacht if it ends up forcing a historic bridge to be dismantled for it to pass through. What a ridiculous story. What a headline. What a just absolutely amazing. They did, this headline and this article needs to be optioned for a movie. That's what this needs to. There needs to be a feature film made around this because it's got a clear villain. It's got a clear central plot line. It's got a great noble cause. You pick one of the Dutchmen or the Dutch women. There's your protagonist. This needs to be the historic bridge. They can tell us all the good things that have come from that bridge. Guys, according to this article on news.yahoo.com, it says Jeff Bezos' new mega yacht is being built in the Netherlands, where it may require Netherlands, where a new mega yacht is being built in the Netherlands, where it may require a historic bridge be dismantled so it can sail through. Some Dutch residents definitely won't be egging him on, but will instead be chucking eggs at his yacht when it passes. Rotterdam locals have taken to Facebook to plan an event called Throwing Eggs at Jeff Bezos' super yacht in protest. Calling all Rotterdammers, take a box of rotten eggs with you and let's throw them in mass at Jeff's super yacht when it sails through the Hef in Rotterdam. The event description reads, Rotterdam was built from the rubble by the people of Rotterdam, and we don't just take that apart for the phallic symbol of a megalomaniac billionaire, not without a fight. As of this writing, roughly 1,200 people have marked themselves going to the event, and 4,900 people are interested in it. This is all going down on June 1st. What is going on?
Well, the mayor has come out and said they're not going to dismantle the bridge. So I don't know what's going to happen. But you know what the craziest thing of this whole story is? Not the fact that the local government is restricting the sale of eggs and doing all that shit. The craziest thing for me is that this is a $500 million yacht, but he made so much money overnight on their earnings that he made without doing it in his sleep. He made enough to buy 10 more.
So it's guys, that's what the article says right here. A $500 million yacht. Bro, what is going on? That's so much money. You know what we need? You know what? You brought up Walmart before. You know how Walmart, you were saying how, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, Walmart came in and crushed the little retailers, the mom and pop stores, and they came in and they were, slash prices. And they basically did what Amazon's doing like 30 years ago or 40 years, 20 years, whatever. Decades ago, they did this. Walmart needs to come back and they need to be the hero in this situation because they're the only ones that can really probably compete with Amazon at this scale.
You just call Walmart a hero?
They could be in the future.
No. Walmart is their entire business plan has to be going to small towns or in other cities.
Yes.
Undercut, take a fucking loss.
That's what we just said.
Massive loss in order to undercut the small local businesses to put them out of business, then become the only retailer that people can go to, and then raise the prices up to make a massive margin over time. They are the destroyer of small businesses.
Yes.
And then all those people that lose their jobs or close their businesses have to go work for minimum wage at Walmart.
Everyone loves a redemption story. Who was once the villain could soon be the hero. Walmart with their massive infrastructure, all of their warehousing network, they're mass merchandising, so they have a mass cross channel of goods. They could step up to the plate and build a platform that rivals Amazon Prime, like Walmart Prime or something like that.
They have Walmart Plus. The problem is that they don't have the worldwide reach that Amazon does. They're trying to do it. I use Walmart Plus. I'm actually subscribed to both Prime and Plus because I do it for groceries. Walmart groceries are amazing, and Walmart Plus is awesome for that. But let me tell you something.
Can't fly to Miami, but he is on multiple
sub-services. Speaking of which, have you heard AMC trying to give out NFTs to people to go watch Batman? They're doing everything they can for stockholders to try and convince them to keep buying, idiots. All right, but here's the thing. In Batman and in one of the movies, they said famously, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. There is no turnaround. There is no redemption arc for heroes who become villains.
Yes, there are. You can go the other way.
Who is somebody who was a hero who became a villain who became a hero again?
I don't know about hero to villain to hero, but I can tell you villain to hero. Everyone loves this Loki character in the Marvel movies. Everyone loves Loki.
Okay, now that he's become the hero, he has to die or he'll become the villain.
Yeah, but Loki was introduced as a villain, basically waging terrorism on New York City in that first Avengers movie. Spoiler alert, it came out in 2012. So, I mean...
I finally watched the Endgame 3 weeks ago.
What'd you think? I mean, did you watch like a ton of movies in the lead up, or was that did you just watch it independently?
No, I watched all of them. I just finally watched it because it was.
It's pretty damn good.
I finally got Disney Plus.
You know, it's nothing. I mean, it's good entertainment. You watch a movie, you have a good time. Eat some popcorn, candy, whatever, dinner and a movie, something like that. It's good entertainment. Endgame was good.
My favorite one of those of the Thors was Ragnarok, even though everybody hated it.
Thor. I mean. Thor. Oh, the third Thor movie. Thor. Yeah. No one hated that movie. That one. People love that movie. Yeah,
everybody said it was trash. It was the worst Thor movie.
No. People say that about the second Thor movie. They don't like that the second one. That Natalie Portman's in that one still. It's something about Dark World and Dark Elves. I don't know. Something about that. Everyone likes Ragnarok. Ragnarok's really good. I
never saw the second Ant-Man, and I never saw. Well, I haven't seen a bunch. I didn't see like the Winter Snow, the other one. I don't know. There's just too many goddamn movies. Yeah, I was supposed to.
Yeah, there's like 20 something, and I hadn't seen any. Mel and my wife hadn't seen any going into COVID. But like during COVID, we were like, what the hell are we gonna do? We're locked down. We started watching some of these movies. They're pretty damn good. And why I bring it up is because Loki goes from villain to hero, and everybody loves him now. He's got his own series. Everyone cheers him on.
It's so easy to go from hero or villain to hero.
That's what I'm contending that Walmart should do. Go from villain to hero.
They started from hero and went to villain.
Yeah, but not for this generation anymore. I mean, they started as hero like a long time ago. Like a long time ago. How are they gonna
explain to me how Walmart is going to become the hero?
We were just talking about this. We were just talking about this with Spirit and Frontier about how competition breeds positive results for the consumer. You know, Amazon right now, there's really no competitors right now for Amazon Prime. I mean, no one at that scale. There's e-commerce competition, sure, but Amazon is like they're like the end all be all of e-commerce right now. It's like everybody, if you're you know
what's worse than having only one option? Having only two options.
Why? Because you think they're like collusion is so easy?
No, it's not collusion. It's that they will do everything they can other than losing money, because when they're that big, they know that they can't lower their prices to out their competition. So what they do is they try to bring in more services. So what they do is they try to expand to pull customers away. It's not about bringing customers in because of what they're offering. It's making themselves the only choice.
To be fair, with what you're just talking about, we saw this with Peloton when they had like one competitor, and all of a sudden they started proliferating on. They have the treadmill and they got the wall thing and they got all sorts of stuff. Like that was their first move. They've since been slashing prices, and obviously, you know, Peloton's in the news for a whole other host of reasons.
No, what I was getting at was that what happens is that these companies try to outdo the other company, and they expand so much that over time, the weight of certain things shift, and then this company becomes the only option for these 50 things, and this company becomes the only option for these 50 things, rather than one or two for only one thing, because they expanded for so much.
Enter the third Target. Come in. Boom. Competition.
Targets for Becky's. That's the ladies thing. It's always there. But you know something? Regardless, these guys will never, ever, ever give up money because it is about having money, and money begets money. And this is what I need to start doing. Instead of being scuffed and being honest with people, I need to start driving around a rented Lamborghini and having expensive stuff and promising people the world, because you know what? Money begets money, and people want to chase it and only care about it. And that's all people want to do. You want to look and have your $500 million yacht, or doesn't matter how poor people are, how much they're struggling. You know what? We want to show off wealth to the world. So why not just shit on everybody's cereal, shit in everyone's cereal, right in the middle of Central Park?
That doesn't sound tasty at all. Shittios. An artist placed a cube made from $11.7 million worth of gold in Central Park, protected by its own security detail. Guys, the German artist Nicholas Castello is, of course, launching a cryptocurrency alongside this physical work as well. This is all at artnet.com. A news article they have. Look at this damn thing. This is just in Central Park. Apparently, it's worth $11.7 million. I mean,
they really should have just made it a middle finger instead of a cube.
I mean, what is this? What, like? Let me ask you a question, okay? Because I'm not so artistically inclined. Is this some sort of like art installation or like abstract form of art? Is that what this is?
I don't know, and I don't care because I don't do that. It's like somebody trying to explain to me how they're a vegetarian but they eat fish. So like it doesn't make any sense to me, and the person's going to be delusional regardless. But here's what I'm going to say about it. Regardless of what you're doing, I feel like here's the thing about art, right? It's only valuable based on how much somebody wants it, right? And how do you make something wanted? You bring views, you bring clicks, you bring controversy, you bring eyeballs. And that's exactly what this person did. If you took a $11 million cube of gold and put it in a bank somewhere, nobody gives a shit. If you put it in the middle of Central Park, you're going to piss off a lot of people. You're going to get a lot of traction. And then guess what? Now it's worth more than $11.7 million because now you have the value of the gold. Plus, everybody wants to own the thing that everybody is talking about. So now your art becomes art, right? Some artists will be like, my art is for a conversation piece. It is not about what I have drawn. It is about the reaction. Oh, the croissant. But in this case, I feel like it's actually. It's genius what they're doing, but it's still a fucking middle finger. Yeah, it's Central Park and it's surrounded by Fifth Avenue. There's a lot of money there, but there's a lot of people struggling right now. And they go into Central Park and they're like, "Oh, I hate my life, but the only solace I have from my shitty $6,000 a month studio apartment and terrible job where people are yelling at me because I told them they have to have a mask on. I'm gonna get out and just go enjoy my life for one day in Central Park. It's beautiful. You go in there, you see a crowd, you see a bunch of people with guns. You walk up, it's an $11 million block of gold. You're like, you know what the fuck this shit. Sorry, I blacked out again.
So it says that it weighs 410 pounds. That actually is lighter than I thought it would be. 410 pounds. I imagine this thing being like, I don't know, a ton or something like that.
No, because it's $2,000. Well, let's just round up. $2,000 an ounce. 16 ounces in a pound. So it's actually $1,800 an ounce, but let's just, for the sake of argument. So you're going to call it $36,000. We'll call it $40,000, or sorry. So $35,000 per pound, right? $35,000 per pound. So times that by 1,000 pounds, that would be 35
when you take
million.
The 11.7 million divided by the 35,000,
333 pounds.
I don't know, man. I can't do this math, but the article says this morning joggers in New York Central Park may have come across a curious, rather illustrious sight. A cube composed of 400 pounds of pure 24-karat gold conceived by this artist who has billed it as a conceptual socle du monde, which I guess means base of the world, sculpture for our time, was wheeled out to the Naumburg band shell this morning at around 5 a.m. Where the hell did he get? Where did he get this? Who gave this to him?
Where do you get that much gold?
Yeah, what the hell? He needed some help here, man. He had this. What the hell? How did this even happen?
I realize that this is blood gold. Like, he got this from a mine in Kenya. There's no doubt about it. But like, how do you acquire that much gold and then get it broken down, smelted, and then melted into a 400-pound cube?
So it says, and so with all things in 22, and accompanying cryptocurrencies being launched alongside the artwork, the Castello coin, traded as $CAST, is available for purchases. Whatever. I mean, everybody and their mom has a coin anymore. It says
So it's worth it though. Look, it's bringing in the thing. He'll have to give back the gold. He's probably got it on lease, and then he's probably got a big stake in this coin, and other people do too. They're gonna get their gold back. They're gonna make money on their coin, and then they're done.
Let's listen to this rather heady, borderline, pretentious quote. It says, "The cube can be seen as a sort of communique between an emerging 21st century cultural ecosystem based on crypto and the ancient world where gold reigned supreme," says the Viennese gallerist Lisa Kandhofer, who was in New York for the artwork's launch. I don't know if it can be seen like that. I think it just looks like a gaudy piece of gold. Also, here's a picture of the Castello cube being cast in a foundry in Switzerland. So this is a cool photo. I mean, this is like a dope.
It's in Switzerland. It's Nazi gold. Oh, too soon.
Oof. According to Castello's team, Golden Cube was cast at a foundry in Switzerland, requiring special handmade kiln in order to
melt it down. You can't see the SS's.
Yeah, in a kiln in order to withstand both the sheer size and volume of the gold as well as the extreme temperatures. The cube measures over 1.5 feet on all sides and has a wall thickness of about 1/4 inch. Oh, it's hollow on the inside. That's why. It's hollow on the inside.
Doesn't matter. It's still how much it weighs, and we're talking about value versus weight.
Yeah, I know, but what I was talking about.
You thought it was solid.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, I thought,
well, dude, no, there's no way. At the density of that thing would be a ton, man.
That's what I said. It looked like it would be like a ton, but it called it only 400 pounds. Either way, this is Castello.
Only 400 pounds of gold. Yeah.
Well, also, here's a picture of him standing next to the cube. It's actually not as big as it looks in the above photo. It's definitely. It's 11.7 million in gold, so it's a lot of gold.
It's girthy. It's girthy.
Yeah, it's very thick, very wide.
You remember how we talked about a heist? This would be the perfect.
This is the heist moment.
I feel like at 400 pounds, if you just get like 1,000 people from the Bronx with like little hammers and they just charge it, like, what do you do? Like, yeah, 2 or 3 guys might get taken out, but you take down the guards, you chisel off a bit, and everybody runs off with a chunk of gold into the fucking woods.
The era of the heist might be over, or at least soon over.
No, heists are just online now.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the era of the heist for IRL stuff like this might be over, especially considering how prevalent things like eye recognition and facial recognition are anymore. I feel like any more security cameras are going to know who you are.
People who do heists pay their taxes?
Guys, the IRS may know the answer to that question. The IRS halts a plan to require facial recognition for logging in to user accounts. That is chilling. That's a chilling idea, by the way. Facial recognition for logging into all your governmental stuff. We're really starting to. I mean, that whole dystopian idea that you brought up earlier. We're really starting to knock on the door of some futuristic
20
stuff.
Years ago, people were saying that this was going to happen. They got called crazy.
The IRS is halting a plan that would have required taxpayers to verify their identities with facial recognition software before signing on to its website, following backlash from lawmakers and privacy groups. The IRS said in a statement Monday that it will transition away from using a third-party verification system service involving facial recognition. The IRS said it will bring online an additional authentication process that doesn't use facial recognition technology and work with other partners in government to come up with ways to authenticate taxpayers that blah, 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 blah. They're not doing it. And I think we all know the reason why, because the entire public has been scared to death from every single sci-fi movie of all time for governments and corporations getting all this stuff and using it for bad. And when you start mixing facial recognition and your privacy with things as foundational to your societal existence, like tax paying, it makes people uneasy. They don't like the idea of it.
I disagree. They're just waiting for the next, event, whether it's manufactured or it's natural or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna be honest with you real quick. Let me put on the hat. Okay, now that the hat's on.
Tinfoil hat has been applied for all the audio listeners.
Let me tell you something. Okay, 20 years ago, people were telling you you're going to have facial recognition to do stuff. And people said you were crazy, right? Well, guess what? Now you have it. People are willingly putting their thumbprint and their face on their phone, right? They just collect your data. 23andMe, just for those of you guys who don't know, everybody used to say, hey, they're collecting your data to sell later on. And everybody said you were crazy. Well, guess what? 23andMe just signed a deal with telehealth in order to be able to, I guess in the future, tell you if you get your DNA if something's wrong.
Yeah,
and signing a deal with... signing a deal with a large German biopharm company. That's kind of interesting. Also, if I would have told you 5 years ago that you would have been forced to have a vaccine in order to go on a plane, go out to eat, and you'd have to wear masks and you'd have to do all this stuff like this, you'd be like, the government can't do that. There's no way they could force people to do vaccines. There's no way in hell. Guess what? Everybody gets scared, and then this happens. Now, I'm not trying to be that guy, okay, who's like, well, Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good disaster go to waste. Never let a good tragedy go to waste. But you know what? 9/11 happened, and you know what they did? Patriot Act happened. National Defense Authorization happened. You know something? It is what it is. One event happened that probably couldn't have been prevented by the stuff that's in place now. And you know what we got for it? The TSA, which is billions and billions of dollars wasted. And do you know who is the most criminal organization and the most arrests and the most everything when it comes to airline industry? The TSA. 8,000 people from that work for the TSA have been caught stealing people's stuff and doing illegal shit. Guess what? That happened. The NDAA happened. You can now be put away in a prison without rights for a long time. This continues to happen, and it will only continue to happen, but you just need to get the people of the world scared enough. This is how Hitler took it over in the beginning, and how he was, not saying it's the same, but that's how he got the Jews. They had guns. He was able to get it away. He was able to use fear, and now they're trying to do the same thing in Russia and Ukraine, trying to say there's a false flag. It's a whole 9 yards. I could do this for days, but listen, don't call people crazy. You never know when they might be right.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the fear piece, you know, that's people have watched enough sci-fi movies to know what to be scared of. Stocky's right, though. You know, someone that might be saying something crazy now, to fast forward the clock 20 years and it becomes the norm.
I mean, what if we're living in something like the Matrix? Like somebody out there saying, hey, we live in a simulation. Hey, what if it turns out that we really are? What if we really are? How would we know?
I would say one thing that doesn't age well over 20 years is the Matrix. Guys, Warner...
But we talked about that. I can't believe they fucking made that movie. What a stupid cash grab.
Warner Media is currently being sued for releasing the Matrix Resurrections on HBO Max. Another studio is in hot water over pandemic release models. Another major studio is facing a lawsuit over the day and date releases of a highly anticipated title. Village Roadshow Films, which co-produced the Matrix Resurrections with Warner Bros., is suing Warner Media for releasing the film on HBO Max the same day it debuted in theaters. The lawsuit, filed today in LA Superior Court, alleges that Warner Media rushed the release of Matrix Resurrections from 22 to 21 so that the film could debut as part of an internally coded initiative known as Project Popcorn. This release model would trade box office revenue for streaming subs, depriving partners of revenue tied to the film's performance. I will say that whatever predictive models that you have for something like this probably are predicated on the film actually being good. The actual content being good.
It was a shit thing. Scarlett Johansson sued Disney after Black Widow because of it, and they actually settled with her because she was directly tied to ticket sales.
That was inevitable, though. They made that movie pre-pandemic completely, and then they just had to react to this new COVID world.
And the thing was that they had tied her compensation to ticket sales, which was great if you're somebody like Blair Witch. Fun fact: the greatest ROI for an actor of all time was, I think, one or two people from Blair Witch, where they didn't get paid in the beginning. They didn't take the $10,000 to make this little low-budget movie. They took a percentage of box office sales, and the thing grossed like $120 million, and this was in the 90s, and they fucking made so much goddamn money. But here's the thing, it's not about the movie. I'll give you an example. Mulan came out, and they did a theater and a streaming thing. Can I be honest with you? I had to shut off the new Mulan halfway through. It was that bad.
The new Mulan, wait, you mean the live action?
The live action. It was that bad. I had to turn it off. I never finished it. And so I've only done that with 4 movies in my life. This is only the 4th movie in my entire life where I stopped watching halfway through.
Do you remember the other 3?
One was The Love Guru. I walked out of the theaters with that one. That was with Mike Myers. It was so bad. Another one was one that had The Rock and Steve Carell. I think it was a spy movie or whatever like that. And then the 4th one was that I started watching and I didn't finish was it was a remake. I can't remember if it was the Poltergeist remake or if it was one of the it was an 80 horror remake. Those are the only ones I've ever not got through and went back and finished. And this was one of them. It was that bad to me, but it crushed records, right? So if a movie was that bad, the reviews were terrible, why did The Matrix not do it? Is it because they didn't spend enough, or the marketing? I mean, look at what some of these other ones that have been doing the co-releases have been doing. What was the other one that just happened that just crushed it? Dune fucking killed it, right? Dune killed it.
So this
and
article,
that's a remake.
This article says
your movie sucked.
A quote from the company says, a film that should have been an incredibly valuable sequel to the Matrix trilogy helped drive up the value of HBO Max and boosted subscribers, the suit claims, but hurt the film's theatrical revenue and inflicted serious harm to the entire Matrix franchise. The hit to the Matrix Resurrections box office returns was not the result of just the cannibalization from streaming, but from the rampant piracy it knew would come by distributing the market picture.
Far From Home,
literally,
No
I was
Way
just
Home,
about to.
just became the third highest grossing film of all time in theaters. Ladies and gentlemen,
bunch of people
in theaters.
This is a bunch of people that are dancing around the fact that the movie sucked, that it was bad content.
It was horrible.
When
if it was a standalone movie, maybe, but the fact that they brought back Keanu and his lady in roles that didn't really fit to bring in a new cast, it didn't fucking work. Speaking of Keanu and remakes, did you ever see the new Bill and Ted? I didn't watch it.
I didn't even know they made a new Bill and Ted.
They made a third one that got canceled and pushed off because of COVID, and then they finally released it.
If this trend continues, we're going to see Shane Falco fully reprised in another Replacements. Hopefully, come on, Keanu, give us the reboot we're actually hoping for. Reboot the Replacements.
I know. Be like the guy who comes in to take over for Tom Brady or some shit.
Do something like that. Don't reboot the Matrix. We all knew that this movie wasn't going to be good.
Hashtag Byron should have been the Jaguars coach.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't want to be on the soapbox too much, but the last thing I will say is that if HBO Max and HBO themselves aren't happy with the results and they just keep doing everything for subscribers, they never should have let the two showrunners of Game of Thrones end that damn show. No one would have canceled their HBO subs if Game of Thrones was still going. They needed to do everything in their power to keep Game of Thrones. That is
what the thing is that the Game of Thrones, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox about Game of Thrones, but I rewatched Game of Thrones and I actually had to stop it before the last episode because it was that bad. I remembered it and I was watching like fuck. But you know what? I will give the creators of Game of Thrones credit. I was thinking about this the other day about the villains of Game of Thrones, like Jeffrey or whatever his name was, and some of the other villains of there. Those guys were geniuses at creating villains. They made me hate the villains, right? Including Jeffrey or Joffrey,
Ramsay Bolton, right?
Bolton. They did a great job of making him an absolute villain. The girl from the Faceless Man place, and actually. The two guys that produced this actually did an amazing job creating villains so much that the best ones they created were themselves.
That's 100% true, because the way the show ended sucked. And what you're talking about, the show was great characters, great development. It became like a soap opera after a while. They were all these relationships.
And then they just rushed it to a conclusion at the end, and I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, how did? Like, what? Like, these guys are just here. We're having a fight. Everybody, what happened to the Dothraki? Did they all die? Did they kill anybody? Like, what, why did Arya get to do the thing? It wasn't her kill. She wasn't, like, what is going on? Did Sansa, what happened here? The best scene for me, though, I think my favorite scene of all time that I liked about them, and this is going to sound dark, but I think it was a very, very, it's a nod to how in-depth the show was at a time. When they hung those guys at the wall, the traitors at the wall, I've seen bodies that were hanging, and that's the first time I've ever seen what it actually looks like within the first minute or two after somebody being hung, especially when the trauma there with the eyes having the bloodshot and then the bruising, and then the scene where the guy where Sansa let the dogs eat Ramsay, and seeing the dog rip into him the way it did, it was great. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, the gruesomeness of that show, the detail of it, everything in the lead up, you could tell they loved and they took care of everything. Oh my God,
we're running out of time. We're not going to get to the controversial transgender swimming
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next time, guys. Game of Thrones was my rant. Stocky.
I do text or rant first?
Let's do rant and then let's do text, guys. Stocky's rant of the week.
The SRR, the Stocky's Random Rant. Okay, I was looking at an article this week about baby names. Okay, can we talk about this for a second? This goes into Game of Thrones too. Guys, people, if you are about to have a baby, for the love of fucking God, okay, choose and be unique, but there is a limit, okay? Did you know that one of the most popular baby names in 2011 or 12 was Daenerys? Who the fuck names their kid Daenerys, okay? That's not even cool. The show is dead. The next generation grows up. They've never seen it. It doesn't make any sense. They got a bunch of these fucking Daeneryses running around, and their parents are like, oh my God, you're just like Daenerys. You're just the queen of dragons and stuff. And the kid's like, the fuck is wrong with you, mom? I don't know, okay? Also, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not, and this isn't specific to any group of people, but stop looking around your house and just looking at random things and naming your kids. Your kid should not be named Paprika or Chandelier.
Beautiful
okay,
name.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, guys, you don't have to be unique that way. If you want to be unique, that's fine. Everybody wants to be unique. Change the lettering, find something. But for the love of God, your kid is going to get fucking bullied, and then I'm going to have to see some sad sob story about some Facebook bullying group or some goddamn school thing where now we're gonna have to all do fucking kumbayas with Austin on once a month because people's feelings are hurt because you decided that you wanted to be cool and flashy and tell everybody that I named my kid fucking Kashanuisha or you know Tyrion or whatever the fuck TV show you're
Darth
watching.
Vader. Just name your kid Darth Vader.
You'd be surprised. I mean, you know what? There won't be anybody else named Karen anymore. I'll tell you that right now. The name Karen has dropped off. There is nothing. And I don't mean to go on this rant, but listen, there's a difference between being unique and being selfish and not giving a shit about your kid, okay? Listen, bullies are out there. People will always look to take advantage of other people, especially when they're bullied themselves. They take it out. Please don't make your kid a target. That's my rant, okay? Please, for the love of fucking God.
Stocky's Random Rant of the Week. Stocky wants to see a bunch of Kyles and Brittany's running around. He wants a bunch of Trevors and
I'm
Jennifers.
Saying bring back some family names. Bring back something that's unique. If it's something that means something to you, fine. But this bullshit about fucking, you know, making it sound crazy so they're that unique that everybody's gonna remember. And I'm looking at you, fucking what's his name, Nick Cannon, with your 8 kids by 6 different moms with all these weird names. I'm looking at you, Elon. I guess Elon doesn't matter because when your kid's worth fucking $400 billion, nobody's gonna make fun of him anyways. But God, the love of fucking God, guys, make it reasonable.
I don't believe that that's Elon's kid's name. Anyway, guys, that's Stocky's Random Rant. Thank you, Stocky, for the Random Rant of the Week. And the last segment, we got Stocky's text message. Stocky's, we don't even have a name for this one yet. Stocky just has a bunch of missed text messages, like 517 missed texts dating back to like 2017. So every week, we look at the oldest dated text message. We've seen Stocky leave his grandma on red. We've seen Stocky leave people hanging that he's trying to meet up with outside of, I guess, was a basketball game. Stocky, what is our oldest text that we're looking at this week?
All right, we actually jump from December of 2017 to 2018 for this one.
Which month?
This
January?
one is,
January?
January 21st, 2018. It says, it's Andy from South Beach Fridays. Are you working?
It's Andy from South Beach. Is this a cryptic message? Is this some sort of code?
So at the time, I was the front desk agent, or was I the manager at this point? I think I was the operations manager of a hotel on South Beach Ocean Drive. And my hotel was above, we leased out for $45,000 a month. We leased out a space to TGI Fridays. So for anybody who's been to South Beach, you'll know the corner of 5th Street and Ocean Avenue. You'll know that there's a TGI Fridays there. That hotel above it, we used to be called the Bentley. That used to be my hotel that I ran, that I managed. And Andy was the general manager of the Fridays. And he was a good guy, chain smoker, ended up having a heart attack. I hope he's okay. But I guess this day he had texted me and telling me and asked me if I was working. They probably had a flood in the hotel or under the hotel or something like that. So I don't know.
Well, whatever Andy faced that day, let's hope that he got through it. Terrible to hear about the heart attack. Hopefully he's in good health now.
He recovered and lost a lot of weight, but then he went right back to smoking, chain smoking again.
Hopefully he's nice and recovered now.
Maybe I should text him.
You should probably text him back. Maybe you should text all these people back. Guys,
hey, buddy. Just got this.
What's up? Don't say that. That guy's got a new phone. That text thread doesn't exist on his phone. He's not gonna have no idea who you are.
Done.
Guys, thank you all for being here for episode 13 of the Stock Guy and Alex Show. This is the podcast that covers topics around the world, business, news, markets, money, sports. People are talking about, so are we. We didn't talk about a lot about sports this time. We did talk about the Olympics. The Stock Guy and Alex Show can be watched, listened, and viewed on YouTube and Spotify. Soon on a bunch of other platforms. Guys, follow the show on Twitter, Insta, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the other major socials. Guys, thank you all for being here. We will be back next week. Stocky, final thoughts.
412 is coming out, ladies and gentlemen. Shameless promo for my own beans. But looking forward to that. Final thoughts. Final thoughts are, I don't know what's going on with the world. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of thoughts other than, listen, I need to find a vehicle. I don't know what vehicle to find. I've been looking on Carvana, but everybody's telling me not to use them. I'm trying to find a vehicle for the family, for, big and sturdy. And I'm sorry, I'm thinking about my dick. I'm thinking of big, sturdy, and large enough to, to fit everything I need. But I can't find it. And so I'm going to continue looking. I'm not going to get a Land Rover or Range Rover, whatever. I am looking at the Dodge. And also Kia. What the fuck happened, Kia? You used to be the most, affordable vehicle out there, but these Teleroods or Telerides or whatever, they're $50,000. The fuck?
Kia's trying to brand creep up to premium. They're trying to brand creep. They got the new logo. Kia's doing their thing right now. They're trying to brand creep up.
I need a Dadmobile, but I'm not going to buy a minivan.
Toyota 4Runner. Reliable.
That's not a 3-row.
I think it's get a Toyota Sequoia. That's their 3-row.
Why Toyota? What are you working for big Japan?
Get the Jeep Wagoneer.
Fuck all that. Did you see all the updates with Big Meat?
I didn't see any Big Meat updates.
Oh, well, I'll send you some Big Meat updates.
All right, we'll get some Big Meat updates. Guys, thank you all for being here. One love, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you at These is Trash. Bye.